welcome to the 7-part series of the Spiral of Creation, which is using the chakras more in a spiral pattern rather than straight up or down. And it's a system that's used in, or patterning that's used in a system called the dream spell, which is based off of sort of the Mayan day counting. Some people call it an astrology, but it's, just sort of like a day counting patterning system. And in the dream spell, which is its own thing, it's based off of the Mayan calendars, but it is a little bit of a more modern take on it. They have this 7-day pattern of how we work through the chakras, and it's in a spiral of creation. And so what this series is intended to do is to take us through that spiral of creation. So in the very first reading, we are going to receive a download, open to inspiration. So we're going to work each week on clearing and understanding how we work with each chakra to help it sort of clear and open and be ready for what is going to be coming in. And so I'm going to be putting this intro to the series at the start of each of the 7-week actual videos. So if you've already seen this, feel free to skip ahead to the intro to the actual reading. But if you haven't seen this yet, or if you want a refresher, I would stay here. And also a note that it is very important that you do this in order. So if you're coming into this and seeing this when we're at the Heart Chakra, so like the 7th reading, or if we're at the Throat Chakra, which would be the 5th reading, I believe, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, the 5th one, whichever one you're coming in at. If you have not gone in order, I would highly suggest for you to go back and start with the first reading of the series because this is a patterning. The first one is going to kick it off, and each subsequent one is a step that you shouldn't skip over. So I'm just going to go over what this patterning is. So we start in this system with the crown chakra. And in the philosophy around this spiraling pattern with the chakras, this is where we receive a download, receive inspiration or a divine spark, and it starts the spiral of creation. And so in the first reading, I will be helping us to see where there may be any blocks or things to be cleared, connecting different insights into how you may work with this chakra in general, and then just getting any insights about what kind of download or inspiration may be coming, but leaving it open-ended. And it's going to be a full week between readings. And so giving you that whole week of time to sort of receive your download, sort of pay attention to what this reading illuminated for you and receiving the download. And then in the second week, we'll anchor it down into the body by going into the root chakra. So taking the download and grounding it, finding how we feel connected to this, and how we feel aligned in our depths with it. So finding, our connection, our alignment, and our grounding with the inspiration that came in. And then we take it back up to the third eye, and this is the week where we will be using inner knowing to help see where there's old programming that needs to be cleared away for new programming and new creation to come in, and tapping into any inner knowings we have that can help us have vision with this, sight with it, so some longer term planning and strategy with it. And then we go back down into the sacral chakra. And so we take all these things the insights we've had and the understandings of maybe what's needed to be cut in terms of old programming, and we sort of transmutate that, we alchemize it and free up new energy to come in and start to move and feel a sensitivity and connect to some emotionality and fluidity around what this download is. So like beyond just anchoring it in and feeling connected to it, now we're kind of moving with it and feeling how it feels to us, which might help us to mold something about this or move something about it, and getting creative with it. But in the beginning, there does have to be some sort of alchemy that helps to take things we've seen that we need to cut away and sort of move it out of us as well, in order to get to moving it into us in a more fluid, creative way. And then we go back up into the throat chakra. And this is where, now that we've felt this energy, moved it, maybe molded something about it, there's something we probably want to speak at this point, release at this point. And so this is the reading where we'll connect to where there may be blocks around oppression or repression that need you to express something in order to open the gates and let it vibrate out in the world, resonate out in the world by you speaking your truth and releasing any blocks here. And then we go back down into our solar center, and this is where we find our core value with this, which gives us confidence and willpower and connection to manifesting and real sort of vitality around this to kind of charge forward and stake our claim in whatever this download has kind of turned into at this point. And then we end the series anchoring into our heart chakra, which is the center chakra of all. And it's where things fully integrate into us. So now at the end of this spiral of creation, something is trying to fully integrate here, which then opens our heart, helps us to radiate and be the presence of it and just be it. Be whatever the presence of this download ends up transforming into in this creation cycle. And in my opinion, this spiral of creation and working with the chakras this way, where we then really integrate something into our hearts, to me it's like the heart is the key that turns something on that then awakens the chakra as we're used to, the chakra system as we're used to hearing about it with like a kundalini rising. So I feel like we need to go through this spiral process and really anchor into our heart, which becomes a key that creates that kundalini rising, that ignites all the chakras fully on and rising up and creating an awakening. And then we start again. It's like that awakening makes us fully open again, and then we're ready to receive a new download, a new inspiration, and a new message for a new spiral of creation. That's how I see it anyway. The dream spell system, they actually call these the 7 radial plasmas, but I think most people are more familiar with the chakra terminology. That system doesn't necessarily talk about that being the key for the kundalini rising. That's sort of my own opinion, and as I've worked this pattern a lot over the last couple of years, that's sort of how I feel like it works for me, at least. So this is where I'm going to leave you. Definitely go back to the first reading and do these in order if you're here for the first time at a later on reading. And you can definitely skip over this series intro now that you have seen it in the other readings, but definitely sometimes it's nice to have a refresher too. So if you feel like you need that, you know, maybe at the first one you watch this and the second and third you don't need to, but then at the fourth you're like, oh, I need to refresh with that. You know, whatever works for you. But once you've seen this once, don't feel like you need to watch it every time. So after this intro that will be at the start of each of the 7 readings, we will go into the intro for the actual reading. So I will see you in the intro for whichever reading you are at. All right, see you guys. Hello, beautiful muses. Welcome to CosmoMuse Tarot. And if you're at this reading, you are going to be completing a whole series, the Spiral of Creation chakra series. This is the last of 7. So congratulations for making it here. So grateful for those of you who have come on this journey with me. I have, for my own self, loved every second of it and learned a lot as well. But yeah, let's get into this. So, not to sort of repeat the whole intro, but I do just want to acknowledge what we've been through to get here. So, downloading some sort of inspiration or spark of the divine. We started at the crown chakra with that, rooted it into our root chakra to get sort of a green light to start integrating that inspiration inside of us and finding our kind of soul connection and belonging to what that inspiration was. And then up to our third eye, we then found some vision and sight and anything that was holding us back in terms of old programming and really connected to inner knowing. And then back down to the sacral, that's where we started to move this in our body, find some sort of creativity in a fluid, sensual way. How do we connect to how we want to mold that inspiration within us and in our lives? And then we put it back up to our throat chakra, where we then started an initial vibration out into the world to speak and express and connect to certain truths that were coming through us. And that expression and voicing also created a vibration that broke away any repression and oppression to clear the way, as well as generate certain feedback to come to us, to know how to tweak, how to connect out in the world. So that was like a first tiptoe out into the world with our spiral of creation. And then as we went in our previous reading into the solar plexus, that's where we got a real green light, the go ahead to really push forward, drive, and find confidence and willpower and radiance to move this out into the world, to manifest. And now as we come to the very end and land in our heart chakra, we are fully integrating whatever has sort of unfolded in this spiral of creation into our essence, into our presence. This is where we hold a new integration, where we have like a sort of a new update through this spiral of creation and just sort of emulate something now through our heart and have more wisdom gained in our heart and unfolding in our heart, and just a vibration of our loving vibration, just kind of just having a new integration because of what our spiral of creation has done. So let's jump into this. We have 4 piles like usual, all from chakra cards from 4 different decks. So these cards will not be in your reading. They're placeholders. They're just decks I had that had chakra cards in them. And I'm putting, the cards from specific decks in the same spot, but that doesn't mean you need to stick with the same pile throughout. So say you, in the last reading, solar plexus reading, you chose the solar plexus card from the pile 1 or from the Sigil oracle, you don't have to stay with that same pile. Just connect to whichever pile is drawing you in. And for those of you that like the breath work that I do, we will jump into that. If you have your own process, you can pause here or just jump to the timestamps to go to the pile if you've already connected with one. Otherwise, ground your feet, feel the floor beneath you, the stability, the solidity, the security of that. And really breathe into that to anchor your body into that, to weight it in. And now you can exhale that. And now take another deep breath, and this time suck the air up, up, up into the space between your eyes or your brows. Suck in a little bit more to add pressure there. And exhale out loud to release that. And ask the piles, the cards, which one has your aligned heart chakra message for this spiral of creation. We have pile 1 with the Sigil oracle, Anahata or heart chakra card. Pile 2 is the wisdom of the chakra deck card. Pile 3 is from the Yogic deck, and pile 4 is from your wise animal body deck. Okay, I will see you in your readings. Hello, pile 1. Welcome to your heart chakra reading in this Spiral of Creation series. And thank you for sticking in here with this. And I hope so far it's been a great series for you. And we are going to be ending it with this reading, really seeing what's landed in your heart, how this has affected what you emulate, your presence, your quality of love. Okay, so starting out the reading, we're going to be looking at this top row for some insight into currently anything you need to know about potentially some blocks, anything about timing or preparation that you need to kind of attend to in order to get your heart chakra open and receptive to this spiral of creation coming into it. And so looking at this top row of cards, you know, sometimes they pop out at me as like individual kind of segregated things to talk about, but this one feels very much so connected. And what I'm feeling, there's sort of two things going on simultaneously, and it is more about partially timing but partially blocks to attend to. Is there's something you're needing to, like, your heart is asking you to feel a little bit more grounded right now to make it feel secure enough to open. And so there's things to either cultivate around gratitude for where you live or for your family, or some like ancestral research or work to do around ancestry. Anything that can help you to sort of understand your foundations, attend to your depths, attend to your soul, and really feel more calm, rooted, grounded, and secure at the moment. And I see at the same time as your heart is asking you to do that, it's also waiting for your solar plexus, which was the stop before this, to really fully come into its light in this spiral of creation. So there's partially, some things you're needing to do to help your solar or your heart chakra feel secure enough to open, but also some timing that we're waiting on here. And it's like when these two things come together, when you feel very lit up, like your solar plexus, you're in your confidence, you feel motivated, you feel a sense of brilliance within you and see brilliance in the world and beauty in the world. And at the same time, you've done some work to help yourself feel some gratitude around grounding and security and foundations in life. When these two things sort of like meet and both really turn on, it's like this is what's going to happen. It's like a switch is going to flip, and like lightning or electricity and a wildness is just going to shoot out of your heart. It will feel like a jolt. So you're going to know very clearly when your heart chakra has opened. It's going to, it will feel like a jolt, but in like a good way, like you're releasing your light, you're releasing your true essence, your truth, your love, your light, all of that. It will just flip on. and so that's when you're going to know, like, okay, my heart chakra is open and it's starting to let this spiral into it. Okay, let's get some confirmation cards. And this is from the Mike Wilcox Tarot deck, which is sort of a hybrid. It's got the major arcana, it has some oracle cards, and it has some zodiac cards in it. So we'll just see what comes out. So magnetism on the sun. Yeah, when your confidence in what you're feeling driven to go after or do in terms of goals, in terms of what's driving you. So when your solar plexus is really on, you're going to feel a sense of magnetism, like people wanting to watch you or join you or interested in what you're doing or drawing the resources or opportunities or connections you need. It's like everything you need is coming to you. That's going to be a sign that your solar plexus has flipped on. Okay, I want to jump over here to get a confirmation first on this. We've got the star. Yeah, something about really putting effort into finding sort of like a sense of gratitude and a sense of secureness in your foundations or through your ancestors or really connected to your soul. You'll know when you've reached the point that your heart is happy with here, when you suddenly find new hope for your future, where you can envision something about your future and feel very alive. And you know, the star has this connection to Aquarius, which has a connection to electricity. So this to me, I feel like the solar plexus is like getting your energy up. It's really lighting you up. But like when you do this foundational ancestral work, it's like that's the thing. And when you feel that vision that just flips that switch on, and it's like you just come alive. Your heart just, it doesn't just open, it just it becomes sort of like its own star. That feeds off of the magnetism that your solar plexus is going to start creating, and really creating an orb. Like the way that it's going to open and what it's emulating is really going to create an orbit of things around you, like things really orbiting around you, because the light, the electricity, the magnetism, the hope you're generating, the vision you're generating is just going to be, really brilliant. And Chariot, this to me confirms there's something to get really in line with. Like you may need to check back in with your root chakra. If you took notes in your root chakra reading, or if you know which pile you chose, it might be worth going back and rewatching that, because there's some key to reconnecting to what it was that your root chakra originally felt like gave a green light to with this spiral of creation. Like, what was the belonging and foundation that it aligned for you, that gave you that green light to even allow this spiral of creation to start unfolding? There's something there that you need to reconnect with. And like, I think originally it was very aligned, but as you go through the different chakras, things kind of mutate, and there's something you need to revisit to get like re-anchor into there. And it's going to create this light body like a Merkaba, and just allow the path forward to just real movement. So as your heart allows the spiral of creation into it, it's like life just clears, like the path just clears for your life and your light. And there's just like whatever you're wanting to move forward in or have been trying to move forward in, it's like massive alignment with your chakras coming through, which means massive alignment in the outer world, and things just, any obstacles clearing, anything just, a clear path ahead. Sky is the limit. Yeah, so beautiful read up here. Just so like waiting on your solar plexus to really turn on. It's probably already generating, but just for it, you'll feel that magnetism, and revisiting your root chakra to find some kind of re-anchoring in something originally felt there, and that will connect you with hope and vision, and then it's just like whoo. Yeah, so that's very cool to see. Beautiful. All right, let's look more generally at your particular heart chakra. How does it work? What's your connection with your heart chakra? We're going to start with this card over here, which is what is your relationship to your heart chakra? So like, how do you relate to your heart chakra? Hence, insight into understanding how you relate to it can help you to understand how to strengthen your relationship with it. Ooh, we've got strength. The frequency of strength supports our ability to harmonize all our qualities and skills toward a strong and balanced way of being. Yeah, I mean, this is, to me, that makes sense that your heart chakra is waiting on something with your solar plexus, because I do feel like that's where we find our confidence and our strength. Well, sort of like our confidence to turn on the strength of our heart. So I do think you connect to, the heart is our strong organ. And I think you have a deep connection to having a strong heart, having a passionate heart, having a heart that really knows how to lead you. But I think staying connected to your solar plexus, or aware of like needing that generator to be on, to fill kind of that charge of energy to lean into your heart's strength. There's some kind of connection with your solar plexus here. But in general, it's like, I think that you really connect with your heart when you acknowledge its strength, and your heart chakra really opens to you when you allow yourself to feel strong at the same time. So really powerful. I mean, it's just sort of connecting to the essence of the heart, which is kind of, it's love, but it is also strength, courage, strength. Yeah. Which, before I pull the confirmation card, does give me insight into a little bit, like maybe some patterns of your life, which is interesting that that's coming through. I've not had that yet in one of these readings. Is that it's definitely possible that you've been tested in your life in ways that have required you to understand your strength and understand that your strength comes from your heart. So this is not a heart chakra for the weary. I think the people that are drawn here are people that have probably been through some challenges in life and had to learn through those challenges about the strength of the heart. So really courageous people in this pile. Okay, and then you've got the spider web. Yeah, that makes exactly what I was saying. It's like, I think that there have been some things in your life that have been sticky, some entanglements that have been a little bit difficult, and you've really had to lean into and rely on your heart's strength to kind of persevere and find your winning spirit and forge kind of your own path a little bit. I think a lot of you, this probably won't be for everyone, but I think a lot of you in this lifetime have needed to learn how to rely more on yourself than others, like learn some independence, and have learned that for whatever reason, with your wiring, with your astrology chart, with what you're here to learn, you get the outcomes that you prefer, that feel right to you when you are a little more reliant on yourself, or at least understand your independence and your individuality. Okay, let's look at this next card. This has to do with patterns that you will start to see within you and around you in life when your heart chakra is open, active, and healthy. Patience, beautiful. Yeah, I accept that everything happens in divine order, which makes sense. There's like a link into this energy over here of like your relationship to your heart chakra and this spiderweb energy. I think some of the things either you were born into or have found yourself in, embroiled in, entangled in, have required you to cultivate patience in sort of methodically and systematically being able to find your independence, your personal path, your personal voice, your everything. But it's like that, because you've had to cultivate patience to do that, you've also really understood a very big lesson, because sometimes that energy of independence and self-reliance can be a little bit like trigger happy, impulsive, sometimes has a lot of falls, but it's like you've cultivated this from a very different place of instead of like coming from independence and learning how to work with others, which starts out with kind of a naivety and learning to maturely kind of work with others, you're coming from the opposite end here. It's like you were like born with some karma of having to move from always being entangled and embroiled in things to figuring out how to be independent. And then when the destination is the independence, you come to that through, a lot of mature, wise effort. And so you come into that not with a naivety and an impulsivity, you come into that with like a real strength. And then also understanding like a certain divine timing, and being patient for knowing when the right time is for, you know, your heart's desires, and being wise enough and patient enough to not get entangled in things you don't actually want, but being patient and waiting for the things that give you kind of the independence you desire and have worked really hard to cultivate for yourself. So it's a very, sage kind of independence, I think, that your heart has taken you on a journey to establish. And then we got two confirmations, and it's saying exactly the same thing. The world and the devil very much so reflects things about the spider web. It's like, but reading this in the context of where, you know, what we're talking about right now, which are patterns that will show up within you and in your world when your heart is open, active, and healthy, is like you have the patience to know how to get unchained from constructs that no longer work from you. You know how to have the patience to wait out and outmaneuver things that are trying to entrap you. And your patience and your divine timing and the strength of your heart that you have to lean into around this does deliver you the world, does deliver you mastery, authority, without having to be entrapped and entangled and embroiled, like knowing how to maneuver around that through having patience, being connected to divine timing. So these are kind of patterns you'll feel when things are going really well with your heart. Okay, and then this last card over here is showing sort of an energy that will be felt, and also as reflecting, so when your heart is integrating something new, it's like processing something, it's coming into a new awareness and working on that. Like, what is its process, and so what does that feel like for you? So you have one, and this is, I'm going to read from the Oracle book for this. Okay, you learn by reading, but understand by love. Ubuntu is a Nguni Bantu term that recognizes the interconnectedness of humanity. I am because we are, which says a lot about where you have come from in terms of tending to get sort of entangled in things. I think you feel such a connection to that oneness and that I am because we are, and this deep connection to humanity. And it can, on one hand, be incredibly beautiful and mature and old soulish, and on the other hand, at times may have entrapped you in kind of very entangled things. So I am because we are, or humanity towards other, begs us to remember that the nature of our humanness is inextricably linked. Oftentimes when we search for answers, we forget how much we already know. Simply by looking within, we can be reminded of the interconnectivity that we all have with one another. Once we connect to this consciousness and drop into absolute harmony, the answers will arise. The connection that we have with nature, humanity, and everything within consciousness is one. Remember your power and deep connection to everything and everyone, and allow that awareness to shine. Mantra: we are one and I am because we are. As I connect with my inner light, I remind others to remember who they are. So this is beautiful and brings some thoughts full circle around this web and this devil energy over here. It's like, Yeah, I mean, I've already mentioned that I think that because of your deep connection to an awareness of the bigger picture of humanity and feeling really integrated and a part of that sort of collective energy, it's easy to, get sort of entangled or caught in webs. But the journey of having to rely on a strong heart and patience to kind of detangle from that has given you this ability in your heart when it's integrating new things about having gotten out of maybe those things and work back towards sort of more independence or individuality, of seeing the bigger picture of what had happened and gaining like this broader understanding of what you went through and why with certain entanglements. And then suddenly that clicking, and instead of it feeling like you have untangled yourself from a web, knowing how to kind of reflect back and recreate and weave a web that is more like for the benefit of all and beautiful and inspiring, and really helps to show that energy of the one of connectedness. So it's like sometimes I think you have to go through these challenges, and your heart has given you this as a test to understand what entanglements and being trapped in webs are, in order to get yourself out, look back, and make webs that are for beauty instead of for entrapment. And so knowing how to decipher what a web is this web something of beauty? Is this art and beauty, or is this entanglement and entrapment? And really being able to tell the difference of what you're getting involved with, and kind of connecting to the weaving and web of things, like really knowing which things are right and wrong in terms of what is beautiful and what is entrapping. And sometimes that's a fine line to decipher, but I think that's something like really amazing, really powerful, and really, really old soul energy to have to kind of walk through and figure out. But wow, yeah, I mean, really powerful stuff. Let's get a confirmation here. Yeah, hurricane. So when your heart is integrating things, it may feel like your whole world is kind of falling apart and in chaos, but your heart is just shifting and broadening a certain awareness that is seeing exactly how to get out of anything that's entrapping you. And when it's done with that integration, you come out of that with this really clear, beautiful understanding of how to weave things that are beautiful instead of weave things that entrap, and how to identify one from the other. But it takes, to move from one to the other and to get out of things that you've gotten entrapped in. It takes this whirlwind, as your heart's becoming more aware of certain things. It just takes this winds of change, a little bit of things falling into chaos or falling apart, but you end up in this beautiful awareness that's so much more alive and strong and healthy. So really gorgeous. Okay, we are going to end this reading with bringing you an ally for your heart chakra while you end this journey. So calling in from this deck, this is Living with a Feather Heart, and it is sort of the laws of Ma'at, the Egyptian goddess of sort of karma and weighing your soul against a feather when you die. She's coming, I'm asking her to come in as an ally for you with your heart chakra for this spiral of creation timing, with one of her wisdoms, one of her 42 ideals, to help be an ally for you, to bring you that feather heart, to put you into that feather heart and really get you into the right emulation and the right presence and that right new awareness sort of unfolding in you. So you've got speak with sincerity, and I'm going to read from the book for this. I have to find it first, so give me just a moment. Let's see. Speak with a feather heart. Where are you? Hold on one second, sorry. Oh, I speak with sincerity. What was I saying? I think my mind like put different words in my head after reading this. That's why I couldn't find it. Okay, speak with sincerity. 9. Okay. All right, so these are somewhat long descriptions, just to warn you. Okay, the sun speaks to us each day as it rises from the east, its living language uttered in the daily warmth and its light shared without expectation of anything in return. The words it speaks come to us through that which is unspoken, the selfless illumination of the celestial sphere offering light in order to allow the symphony of creation to continue to grow and evolve. As we speak, we create, and our words are consistently spelling a direct result with each vibration of sound. Every word we choose carries its own power or vibratory signature, and what we utter into the universe is echoed back through the spells we cast with our verbal frequency. If we remember the sun as we form our words, the metaphor of light and warmth can shape the context of our communication. The virtue of sincerity in the spoken word can manifest if we lead with solar language. There is something, I had said there's something about staying connected to your solar plexus, so that's interesting. If we remember the sun as we form our words, the metaphor of light, radiate warmth with your words, offer light with your intention, and speak truth without expectation. Let what you spell allow others to rise, to grow, to be illuminated with love as the darkness of fear is dissolved. While the concept of language affecting environment may seem wholly esoteric, science reminds us that vibration forms and moves substance in the study of cymatics, which shows us the visible effects of sound. Sound structures matter, and the mind is the matrix of all that matters. Mind your words and evolve matter with a sunny vocabulary that spells sounds of brilliance and sincerity. With each word, you have the opportunity to create a beginning, a genesis of experience which can unfold as your intention is reflected back to you. In the very same breath, your words can serve as a catalyst for destruction if they are voiced solely from a void of darkness. Dark words spin webs of deceit. Okay, I think that's something you've learned a lot about. Dark words spin webs of deceit, and lies will eventually trap you in your own delusions and illusions. The genesis birthed from a lie can culminate in the death of a star, extinguishing the potential for light in the dark density of dishonesty. If you wax poetic instead of waning with insincerity, you allow momentum to carry your journey forward. However, if you choose to remain fluent in darkness, the downward spiral will continue until you become fully and wholly aware of your choices. Really interesting. Yeah, so something Mott wants to bring to you, one of her ideals as an ally for you is the importance of vibration and sound that you speak, write, offer, and how that is the origin place of these webs that I think you've learned a lot about. Maybe earlier on in your life through some of your own things, but definitely probably all through your life in terms of webs of others. And yeah, and so there's something to be said about that solar language, thinking about the sun and light as you form words and ideas, that helps you to weave beauty instead of spin entrapments, or be attracted to weavings of beauty versus webs of entrapment. So there's something about, yeah, like sound, vibration, words that really kicks this off for you that's important, that Ma'at really wants to help kind of bring home and help really bring an awareness to in your heart. Hence emulate and sit in the presence of sort of like a solar language and really integrating that awareness into you. Okay, we are also just going to get a Priestess of Light sort of message for you. Guide, the illuminated path. Yeah, again, it's like the sun is your guide. Anything that feels illuminated, anything that feels bright, is like spirit and guidance telling you this is correct. And also, I think constantly around you, trying to nudge you towards illuminated paths. And so, yeah, keep your eye out for that. I think that's something that's really going to be coming through for you as you work on this heart chakra week or so, is illuminated paths appearing. The more your heart gains an awareness of your kind of solar, like a solar language. Okay, wow, what a message, heart chakras. Pile 1 heart chakras, I should say. Really, really potent heart energy, really powerful heart energy, which is not always easy, but you know, the more you work with it, the more you find how to feel empowered within this really potent energy in your heart. So yeah, hopefully this spiral though, and the ally and guidance coming in for you is really going to drive certain things home and really bring an, you know, massive update of awareness in your heart, to know how to work with your heart energy in a very, yeah, solar-y way. So, all right, this is where I'm going to leave you, pile 1. If this resonated, I always appreciate a thumbs up or a kind little comment. I'm always grateful for either of those. But I'm also just grateful you came this far with me. So yeah, congrats. And hopefully this whole spiral has really illuminated a lot for you. And hopefully this awareness landing in your heart really brings an update for you guys. All right, see you guys. Hello, pile 2. Welcome to your heart chakra reading in this Spiral of Creation chakra series. You're at the final stop where this spiral ends in our hearts and really brings a new awareness, an update in our quality of love and emulation and presence. So you guys picked the card from the Wisdom of the Chakra Oracle, and this pile always has this like keyword because of the deck I used. And for this one, it's perception. And it just gives me some insight generally into your heart that I want to share before we move into your oracle cards. Is I think you have a very aware and a very sensitive heart. I'm seeing this in this woman. She's kind of communing with nature. Nature is communicating with her. It's orbiting her. It's like your heart is very aware of the subtle, of the elemental and its communication. It's just like it's just got like a deeper, more sensitive awareness in life. And so your perceptions, the way you emulate and sit in presence, has some perceptory qualities around it that are very subtle, and I think it's possible that a lot of people don't fully understand you. This is definitely like my mystic crowd for sure, I think. But you're just, it's like you're fully in tune with the subtle, and you're fully in tune with how communicative the subtle is, and you've almost like developed, I think, like a language with that, and your own awareness from your heart, hence perception of life is just, yeah, it's very beautiful. It's very yeah, sweet and open, and it just perceives more. It's just deeply and nuanced in its perception and awareness. So yeah, anyway, just thought, that came through really strong, and so I thought I would just kick off with that for you guys. Okay, so to jump into the actual reading, let's look at this top row of cards, which is going to give us some information that you currently need to have around your heart chakra, in terms of whether there is a block you need to be aware of, some timing you need to be aware of, or any other sort of thing that you need to do to prepare in order for your heart chakra to open to this spiral of creation, wanting to come into it. So I don't, as of yet, see links between these three elements. So I'm going to kind of fixate on each card singularly, but at some point there may be links that create a story here, but I'm not seeing that as of yet. So definitely this Pluto rebirth is indicating to me that there's a timing element going on here, that you are in the midst of some transformation. I don't know if it's your heart that's engaged in some sort of transformation, so it's like not yet with this spiral because I'm taking care of something else, or if there's some other aspect of you, aspect of your life that's going through a big transition or transformation, or if one of your other chakras is and your heart's just like, hold on, let's give this transformation some breathing room and some space to come into its rebirth moment. So something seems stalled in your heart, in your sense of awareness of life and how you typically feel connected to the subtle. If that feels sort of closed off right now, don't worry about that. It's not saying anything's wrong or you're needing to like do something to clear that. There's just something going through a transformation. I don't know what it is, and because I don't know what it is, it may be that this is different for each of you that have shown up here. But the main message is like you may need a little bit of time, like you may need an extra week with this heart chakra reading to come into this rebirth, and then come into the week of integrating this spiral into your heart. But yeah, there's like space needed. Moving on to this card. This has shown up at least once. I'm not sure if twice, but definitely once in one of the other chakra readings. So you don't necessarily, I don't think everyone here has had that same pile, but I do think some people have probably seen this in one of their chakra readings. And it would indicate, if you've seen this multiple times, that you're, I think this is more about something you need to understand versus like really a block or timing. It's more of like highlighting a certain awareness you need more awareness around. There's something in your wiring and more than just your heart. This is definitely for people who've seen it already in one of your chakras, that there's something in your wiring that you have like the signature of a musician, whether you have actually pursued that or not. You don't have to actually be a musician, but it might be worth studying, or even just reading a few articles on like music theory, developing like playlists for different times of day and season, like make playlists for your life. And if you have the time and motivation and resources, I would highly suggest learning an instrument if you have not already. For those of you that don't necessarily recall already having seen music in one of your other chakra readings, this is more specific to your heart and your awareness, like being around music, allowing music to help you connect to like joy and fluidity and flow in your life. There's something about that really opens that subtlety of awareness that you possess. That real sensitivity in your awareness is greatly amplified by engaging with, listening to, deepening a connection to music or the archetype of a musician. And then warrior over here, I'm not getting like a really strong charge from that. This actually could relate back to this Pluto rebirth, that, yeah, maybe there's something you've been really fighting hard for, or to break away from, or to move toward, but a fighting spirit around whatever this transformation is that's taking place in you or in your life. There's some warrior energy around it. I just need to, like, for it to make sense, like I need these to be next to each other, because I do feel this is very different from these. I think it could be that the transformation that's taking place is connecting you to your warrior archetype, or you've had to channel a warrior archetype in order to manifest the transformation that's taking place. But there's some connection to what is transforming and what is rebirthing, and a warrior archetype within you that you've had to either reconnect with or newly connect with. But I think it has not been present either ever in a deep way, or it hasn't been present for a long time. And it's something that it's like you're needing to refamiliarize yourself with, or just in general connect with and claim and see and recognize within you. So I do think that's some aspect of your rebirth. A transformation is like really integrating some warrior spirit within you, which is kind of this funny dichotomy of this like very fluid, subtle, sensitive aspect of you coming through, and then this like powerful warrior coming through. It's kind of fun. Okay, let's get some confirmation here for your cards. So the River in reverse came out. I think that you're in the middle of trying to figure out your path with this rebirth. There's something I feel like you're sort of lost in some twists and turns right now with what's rebirthing. And I think that's okay. I think that's what's meant to be. Let's get a confirmation for the warrior because these kind of go together. Yeah, the Tower. You're either walking away from something suddenly, or something suddenly is kind of falling away in your life. And that's, yeah, okay. No, I'm getting a better picture here of what's going on. So, and it's interesting that I'm doing this reading my time. It'll come out maybe a little bit after for you guys, but I'm doing this the day before an Aries solar eclipse, specifically on the north node side of eclipses. Eclipses can happen on a north or south node, and this is on a north node, and that node to me is like the energy behind the north node is where we're really coming to the end of a journey, and things can kind of fall into chaos and fall apart, but it's helping us to just kind of look back on a chapter of life, see the light and dark of it all, witness our shadows as well as our luminosity, integrate them, find deep compassion and understanding, and just kind of like let go into flow, let what wants to go. And sometimes it can feel twisty and turny and lost, like you don't know the path you're on. And that north node moment, once you get to that, from behind it to on it and in front of it, is like the spark of a new rebirth, and having to channel that warrior spirit to start anew, to forge a new path, to be a pioneer, and to step into kind of like a new world sort of thing. And so I think this is a process that's taking place for you right now, and I still don't have a sense if it's specifically about your heart or just something in your life that your heart's like, hold on, let's let this happen before we jump into me. Whatever resonates for you. But either way, the heart right now, there's some timing with this where it's like, I need this process to take place, and then we can enter me, this spiral of creation. And so it's a process. Just allow, like, things may feel chaotic right now, but we have these endings and beginnings in all sorts of ways, and all sometimes that's with eclipses, that can be a 19-year process. Yearly, that's a yearly process. There's different ways where this is timing, the timing of it. But because we're at an eclipse with this energy, it feels like a very massive chapter of life. And not just that, one that is going to have you seeing your empowerment in a new way. In the last 19 years even, and assuming most of you are at least 19, I'm sure there's a few youngers, but you may have really struggled to connect to your empowerment or something, or maybe your heart hasn't always felt empowered. But this ending is helping you to see what that's been about and what you were meant to learn through that. And so then when you step onto the new path, the rebirth moment, because of what you've been through around sort of a lack of feeling empowered, that now becomes a strength for you on your next 19, like on this new 19-year journey. And it is an Aries eclipse, and the Aries is the warrior archetype. I think you're seeing something at this ending and beginning juncture. Even if you see this a year from now, when that's, the eclipse is long gone, you're still going through this process. Whenever you see this, there's some ending and beginning around like your Aries energy. We all have every zodiac sign within us. So within you, that Aries energy and how you felt empowered by it has not been great, but you're seeing it with clarity and comprehension. And so now this new reboot and rebirth that's happening, it becomes a strength instead of something that's confounded you, confused you, created upsets in your life. Like, you are going to walk into this rebirth like with this huge aha, and like almost like it's been in front of me this whole time. But like just really stepping into your clarity of self and assertiveness, and this new connection to that I empower myself. I'm the one that has it's in my hands to either empower myself or to feel disempowered. And I'm going to choose this time to empower myself, which means I am channeling my warrior archetype to come forward and to develop and to empower me. Yeah, okay, so there is like a really big story that actually did. It's funny because I was just like not feeling a lot about any of these top cards at first, and all of a sudden it's like way more fleshed out and involved than I usually get. So that's cool to have seen. Okay, so some timing that we're waiting for, but just some extra insight, I think, from Spirit that like you are rebirthing into finding empowerment through your warrior archetype. So that's something that your heart is saying, let's wait for a minute. I need this to kind of unfold. And then just a deeper awareness needing to be brought to you to, it's not, I don't see it as a block or timing. It's just like, hey, by the way, this is something you really should be more aware of, is like how much music connects you to your heart's awareness and to its awareness of the subtle realm. Okay, so moving now down to this bottom row, we are going to look more generally, universally at your particular heart chakra, how it works, etc. So this first card is going to be all about how you relate to your heart chakra. Hence, with that insight, how to strengthen your relationship to your heart chakra. So you've got the third chakra, which is the solar plexus. The energy of the solar plexus helps us to realize who we are and who we want to be, so we can set a course toward our goals. Okay, so this actually helps fill this story out more about empowerment and warrior archetype as being very directly connected to your heart chakra. I think you have this sensitive, subtle, beautiful heart awareness, and it makes it hard for you to assert your independence, your wants, your needs, because you're so sensitive. Your heart's awareness is so sensitive to so many things. But what's being brought to light right now, and what I think you're starting to understand, is your heart also wants you to have its own independence too, and have its own wants, its own desires, and that you can hold both, and it's okay. And you need to be like a little bit more okay with being assertive, clearly identifying what you want, driving forward towards your goals with, a competitive spirit, even if that feels like, I don't know, just like off-putting in some way. Your heart is saying it's time though. Like, you've not let me express this side of me. I'm a multi-dimensional heart. I do have this soft, luscious, hyper-aware, nuanced, mystical presence, but I also have this presence that that I have not been, for whatever reason, and it's different for all of you, that like that's had a lack of development, and I'm really craving that side of me to be seen and further developed, is my confidence, my desires, my goals, my dreams, really finding the I am statements about yourself. So the more you can connect to that confidence, that willpower, that personal drive, that kind of bright, bold, clear assertion that the solar plexus can bring, the more you feel deeply connected to your heart, the more you develop a relationship there. And so paradoxically, even though your heart has this dimension to it that is so soft and nuanced and aware of the subtle, it's like it's just been off dreaming in la la land, because you haven't. It's like, that's great, that's all beautiful, and that's all lovely, and it gives you a very beautiful presence. But your heart, because you relate to it through that confidence and that assertiveness, you haven't actually had like a great relationship with your heart. It has not had, a strong connection from you to be in its presence, to emulate and to love in the world. And it has so much to offer in that beautiful, nuanced realm. But until you develop a relationship and honor your warrior spirit, that's just often dreamland. It's not doing anything in the world. It's not deeply related in you, hence deeply related in the world. So the more you really develop that dimension of you that is a warrior, knows its goals, knows its confidence, has willpower and efficacy, the more you are able to unleash your magic, your sensitivity and nuance. Yeah, so there's an interesting thing coming through there. Okay, let's get a confirmation or a context at least card. Temperance. Yeah, this makes sense to me. This is confirming what I said, that there are dimensions to your heart that feel like different worlds. Like your heart has many worlds to it. And so I think that's been confusing, because your heart has dimensions that can feel incredibly different. I think it's been hard to understand your presence and understand what your quality of love is. And this is saying that the more you acknowledge, witness, and develop this other dimension of you, that warrior and empowered dimension of you, and acknowledge that it's just like another side of you and doesn't take anything away or detract from that sensitive, soft, gentle, subtle heart quality, the more you're going to learn how to hold, these different realms and worlds and dimensions of your heart. And the more you learn how to hold that, all of these dimensions of you, the more you then learn how they actually work together and actually create a really expansive, gorgeous, lush, thriving flow in your life, because there is diversity there. And by acknowledging and developing your many dimensioned heart, the more diversity is able to mingle within your heart and really create this like fertile, lush, beautiful terrain, and this presence and awareness of your heart that is just really grand. I don't know what else to say, just grand and expansive and magnanimous and bold and beautiful and soft and strong, and it's just, yeah, a lot there. Really gorgeous. So but I do get the message coming through that, like, yeah, just because of things we've seen up here, it's like there's so much to be developed here. Like, you're just starting. You maybe have inklings of this ability we've talked about, of how your relationship to your heart here. You maybe have inklings of this, but it's like you're just at the very tip of the iceberg of like how amazing of a capacity your heart has. You're barely touching its capacity, which is so exciting. Should be very exciting for you to hear that, like, the amount of growth and how quickly it will grow, because igniting that warrior energy is quick. It comes on fast once you allow it to. So I think this is going to evolve and develop very quickly. And you are going to be, I think, shocked at how much more deeply you form connection to your heart and know how to be present with it, embodied with it, and really emulating just something so grand, just grand. Okay, next card, we are going to look at different patterns that will start to kind of arise within you and outside of you in the world when your heart chakra is open, active, and healthy. And we have fear. I realize that I am testing my resolve to live in the energy of love. Yeah, this makes sense to me. I think that when your heart chakra is not deeply developed, because you haven't developed this relationship, there's a lot of fear in you, because you're having to kind of navigate life through a lot of your other chakras taking place of where your heart should be, because I just feel like there just hasn't been the quality of relationship to your heart chakra that it's about to come. But to me, it indicates that, yeah, like when it's not active, open, and healthy, you live in this state of fear because there's other chakras and other energetic parts of your body that are trying to do the heart's job. And that's terrifying for those parts, those aspects of you. They're not meant to do the heart's job. And your heart, I just feel like, I don't know, I'm sorry, I feel like I'm like lecturing you guys, but it's coming from because I see the capacity here, and I'm just like, please develop this. I think your heart's been a little bit in la la land, and these other parts of you are trying to like step in and do what the heart's supposed to do because it's sort of checked out. And it's created a lot of fear because it's like, I think you're aware, you connect to this heart energy, but it's like just living in sort of this little girl dreamland place. Scared to step into and disturb that. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of you are, I don't know, don't worry if you don't know what this is, but the Enneagram, if you guys are 9s, I'm pretty sure a lot of you are. That lost my place, but that was a side thought that just makes so much sense. It's like that side of your heart that is so strong and that is so connected to the subtle and sensitivity and just the deep awareness of mysticism and life alive in the subtle. It's like you haven't wanted to disturb that, but by not developing these other sides, the power and the warrior of your heart, you can't do anything with that other than just sort of escape into it. And it's like, I think at this eclipse, like you're getting it, so it is going to happen. I'm really excited for you. And you're going to see very quickly that standing in, you know, allowing your heart to show up with its power and allowing your heart to show up as a warrior does not disturb this. It unleashes it. And it's just something that is like, you've had a flipped understanding of that, of like, well, I don't want to harm this aspect of my heart. Somewhere along the way, there was something communicated or perceived. Perception. Oh, this is where perception comes in. There was a perception that took root in you that if you developed the part of your heart that is very powerful and that is a fierce warrior, at some point you perceived that if you did that, it would detract and disturb this subtle, sensitive, mystically beautiful place. But that was an incorrect perception, and you're suddenly getting it. You're suddenly understanding it, and very soon and very quickly you are going to stand up in your power. You are going to charge with your warrior, and instead of these things, the subtle, beautiful thing being squashed out, is going to be unleashed. Love it. And so you will see when this takes place how you move out of living in a lot of fear, because I think this is a group whose heart holds a lot of fear. You're going to see that dissolve. So there's a spectrum here. When you're really kind of escapist into this mystical realm of your heart and not paying attention to the other dimensions, you live in a lot of fear. When you empower these other, you know, the transformational, revolutionary, bold aspect and this warrior, go-getter aspect of your heart, that fear diminishes into, just love. Just love. Love it. Gorgeous. Okay. Oh, let's get a context card. Whoops. Yep, the garden. So this card is all about gardens being a place of intention and where you cultivate certain things. And so this is saying bring intention into cultivating your heart's warrior side, your heart's power side. Mixing it all together like the temperance, holding these different worlds of your heart, letting them mingle with intention, and seeing life flourish abundantly and really thrive in whatever intention your heart wants it to be like, wants that environment to thrive as and look like. I would even practice like imagining gardens or making like Pinterest boards of gardens that you think are beautiful and that are from very different, you know, like a garden from sort of a jungly environment, an English rose garden, a desert garden, you know, like mixing them because you're holding these different worlds and seeing how these actually are like somehow when they come together just like feel exactly like you and exactly like it just opens your heart. And you can even name those different parts, like the desert is your power and the jungle is your warrior, you know, like the different kind of realms of garden as these different qualities of your heart, and to see how they actually complement and create this really interesting, beautiful, powerful, great world. And because we're talking about the heart sort of presence and quality of love. So I love what's coming through there. I think it's really gorgeous. Okay, this last card, before we get some spirit guidance, is about the process of your heart when it is integrating like new awareness, integrating new things into it. What is that process? So what does that feel like? So you can kind of know that your heart is, channeling and churning with new awareness. Strength, beautiful. Okay, I'm going to read from the book for this. If I can find it. Hold on. Here we go. So this is a little long, just to, looks like it's 2 pages. Okay, an ant on the move does more than a dozing ox. Lao Tzu. Okay. Strength is not just measured by how much we can literally hoist or hold. It can also be a metaphysical quality measured in emotional, mental, and spiritual fortitude, especially during times of fear, doubt, and uncertainty. Interesting, that fear coming up again. To remain strong when you feel powerless against unexpected and relentless waves of change requires a certain level of trust in your ability to surf the currents of time with graceful balance, rooted in your center. Achieving an adept level of core strength doesn't always come easily, but the more we work on it, the more it will work for us and grant us the ability to achieve equilibrium and stable footing. No matter how big or small we may feel, a potent metaphor to remember is that even though an ant is tiny, it is able to carry up to 50 times its own weight. Beyond the physicality of strength, if we consider our part in the grand scheme of the cosmos, we are but a speck of sand in this vast cosmic sea, yet our actions have an impact even on a microcosmic scale. With this perspective, we are reminded that we carry a great weight each day of our lives because of how we are able to fold both time and space through the movement on our beautiful yet laborious journey through the human condition. We can move mountains and build monuments with our mind through intention. Here we go, intention, planning, and strength to follow through. And the solar chakra is a follow through quality, that willpower, the follow through. We've seen things about that warrior strength. We've seen things in here about intention with the garden and fear here. Our condition is not measured in literal heaviness, but in the symbolic voyage that either makes us, breaks us, or takes us to bold new horizons as the micro factors into the macro and the macro feeds into the meta. This card is a reminder that strength can always be assessed even when you're feeling weak. By looking deep within, you'll come to find that you'll never be without. The mind is a powerful tool that can help you transcend all obstacles if you trust the assistance it can offer. Okay, when you need the greater reminder, simple yet potent affirmations like I am strong, I am powerful, I am capable, so I am strong, I am powerful, or purely just I am, which could be this, will help recalibrate thought patterns away from weakness and into power. Wow, you can't make this up, you guys. Focus your fortitude and you will soon discover fulfillment. Mantra, if I look within, I will never be without. I am strong enough to transcend all my fears and doubts. Wow. I mean, could we have a better sort of message about, transcending fear by coming into your strength? And so you will know that a lot of this is taking place within your heart when it's integrating in the process of this. Is you will feel strong. It will feel strong. That is a sign that it is integrating certain new awarenesses within you. Strength arises. Yeah, beautiful. Okay, let's get a context card. That one wants to come out. Yin and yang. This is all about, yeah. Okay, this adds definitely some context here, which I'm shocked I didn't already see, is your heart has some very distinct yin and yang sides to it. You know, I think the yin aspect of your heart is incredibly yin, and the yang aspect of your heart is incredibly yang. I think sometimes those spectrum things can lay closer to the center, but for you, I think you hold real extremes in your yin and yang in your heart. And so it's probably taken you a lot of extra time to figure out how to balance that, or how to allow, like, I think you, for whatever reason, found some survival instinct or just found more comfort in the yin side of your heart. And so that's just kind of like where you've hung out in your heart, or like kind of really developed that side of your heart. But the yang side of your heart is really calling out and saying to really come online, to really connect with me and allow me to create our presence. That yang quality of me, you need to let me develop that. The warrior, the power. I'm trying to find the right word. I keep wanting to say power monger, but that doesn't feel right to me. That feels sort of like a shady thing. Like the empowerer and the warrior. Empowerer, is that emperor? So maybe just your emperor and your warrior. Your yang side has an emperor and a warrior, an authority and a battler. Yeah, there's a lot to be developed on your yang side. There's a lot of gifts there that need more. And when you do that, these worlds are going to come together as this whole yin-yang symbol, instead of just living in this dark part. You're going to become a full circle, a full thriving garden, a full grand presence that holds many dimensions and worlds. And I mean, it's really exemplary energy, I feel here, that like I've not seen a lot of people in the world being able to hold a lot of dimension and a lot of presence of many worlds as one. I mean, very few, I feel like maybe like Barack Obama fits that for me, and I don't know who else. In modern, you know, like in modern day, I'm sure there's many historical figures I would put there. But just off of the top of the noggin right now, yeah, that's like, I feel like someone with a, this what I would like give Barack Obama this pile, but he's like developed both sides very well. Yeah, anyway, beautiful. Okay, to end this reading, we are going to find you some ally energy as this spiral of creation comes into your heart. So I'm going to use this deck. It's called Living with a Feather Heart, and it is the ideals of Ma'at, and she is the Egyptian goddess that like weighs, I mean, one of her things is she weighs souls as they move to the afterworld against feathers to see if they pass the test of having a feather heart. And so I've asked for Ma'at to be an ally and to bring you one of her ideals as an ally for you in this heart place in this spiral journey. I invoke laughter. Interesting. I would not have expected that card, but let's see what comes up. Well, actually that gives me some insight, but let me read first from this. I Okay, hold on. I've got to find the page real quick. Okay, 26. Okay, to invoke laughter is to tickle the heart. Oh, I love that. Calling forth a sacred smile. It is an invocation of the inner child that lays dormant within every human soul. Something you may ask is, as a child, were you a little bit more fierce and a little less scared of your power? Something may have happened to shut that down in you for some reason, but I think as a child you may have been more in touch with this. Yeah, and so like getting back into inner child mode and lightening up about this and laughing about it may be actually like the easiest way to open to this. But let's read more. In honoring this virtue, you find resonance with what can best be described as the medicine of the sacred clown, also known as the Heyoka in Lakota tradition, or the crazy wisdom in Tibetan belief systems. This type of shamanic healing and or healer reminds us that it is okay to be silly, that it is fun to be funny, and we don't need to overthink, overanalyze everything, because in times of pandemonium, satire can help us laugh through controversy. The sacred clown shows us the exaggeration of those who take life too seriously, and how by opening the portal to laughter we can find a type of comfort in the calamity of life's extreme moments and personalities. I think there have maybe been some extreme things in your life that kind of shut down that ability to kind of be light in your heart and shut down that warrior and emperor aspect of you. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, some extreme moments. And it's like, yeah, maybe because it could have been because of the age you were when certain things happened or perceptions came in. Or the culture you were in and the perceptions they kind of gave to certain extreme things. Yeah, something shut down there. And it's like you need to get back into being like, yeah, it really wasn't such a big deal. And even if you don't maybe remember what this could have been, it's like just acknowledging something shut down that maybe was taken too seriously or judged in a way or perceived in a way that was like too judgmental or too serious. It's like, nah, I'm gonna release this warrior powerful part of me through my laughter, through connecting to that wise inner child that's more free. Yeah, there's something there. Okay. Levity deflates the ego while inflating the heart with hilarity. Invoking a cosmic giggle is an infectious antidote to the denser moments in our three-dimensional reality. Some say it is better to be feared than loved, but if love is the truth and fear is the greatest lie, what is so much? Yeah, this fear thing keeps coming up again and again. Okay. Start over that sentence. Some say it is better to be feared than loved, but if love is the truth and fear is the greatest lie, we would be allowing a lie to trump the truth. To invoke fear is to dishonor the virtue of laughter and live in a lie of our own creation. Projecting such a dense vibration radiates from unresolved issues within the soul, and to solve them, we must first identify them. If we find comfort in creating fear, we must ask ourselves where the root of this ego-based lie lives. What is causing the discord? How can it be resolved? When did laughter get replaced by trepidation? Why is there a need to evoke sorrow instead of a smile? Who am I to be acting in such a way? Question the cause, not the action. Look within to make the antithesis of this virtue obsolete and take inventory through self-inquiry. Find time for connection to the heart space by nurturing the inner child and remembering the healing light of levity. I actually love this message for what has been going on, because it did feel sort of like serious, and it's saying, no, don't read this wrong. This isn't, yes, there's things that need to be seen here. There's development that needs to be taken seriously, but you need to do that with a laugh. You need to open back up and maybe see how funny certain perceptions are that developed in you. I mean, honestly, as kids, we develop the weirdest perceptions, and it might honestly be that simple, like identifying a perception you have about warrior energy or emperor or power energy, and sitting with that perception and trying to find something absurd about that, silly about that, and like, where did that come from? You know, like maybe you can see where that came from, but trying to see where the absurdity of that perception is. And so breaking that illusion, breaking an illusory perception about being in the presence of, your presence being warrior-esque and powerful, emulating power. There's something you feel like that's wrong about that. And how is that kind of funny because of maybe a childhood perception there? I don't know. Okay, let's get a last Priestess of Light little message for you. Tenderness, true love, compassion. I feel like this is coming through telling you like that side of you that you cherish so much. I think this is the side that's really, really beautifully developed in you, is only going to be strengthened by developing these other sides of you. You are not whittling away at that tenderness. You hold that sensitivity, you hold that compassion, you hold that very subtle, advanced, mystical awareness you have. That's not going anywhere by developing these other sides. And I think this is just, a final confirmation of that. Like, that only gets strengthened for you. Okay. All right. This is where I'm going to leave you guys. Gorgeous heart chakra reading. I loved this for you guys, and very excited for the growth that seems to be on the verge of like a really major moment. Yeah, so anyway, if this resonated, I always appreciate a thumbs up, and kind or thoughtful comments are always appreciated, and I'm always grateful for either of those. So I will see you in readings in the future, and congratulations on completing your Spiral of Creation chakra series. All right, see you guys. Hello, Pile 3. Welcome to your final Spiral of Creation chakra reading, ending into the Heart Chakra or the Anahata. And you guys picked the card from the Yogic deck, and I don't know, there's just like, this card just feels so lush. I don't always take sort of insights or intuitive hits from these chakra cards, but I don't know, something about this one does just stand out to me. And I think just like a general thing, not about specifically now or specifically what you've been taking through this Spiral of Creation, but I just feel like your heart is a very lush, kind of fertile terrain. So anyway, just something about you guys maybe that's coming through. Okay, so we're going to start on this top row to look at anything we need to know, or that you need to know, or your heart needs to know about either some timing blocks, things you need to do to prepare, or just insights needed to help get your heart open and receptive to this Spiral of Creation coming in. And where it's landing in the heart is just like this full integration where you then kind of step into being emulating and being in the presence of this inspiration that originally downloaded for you. Okay, so the first thing I want to point out is I am almost certain that this dark matter card has already appeared in one of the chakra readings. And if that resonates for you, or you recall that, and you're here again, this may have something to do with an archetype that's pretty solid within you, that I would say is fairly sort of scientific, inquisitive, likes to question and explore and research. It's just something that came up. So looking at this point, I'm not getting like a through line story with all of these. So I'm just going to talk about each one individually. And then if some sort of through line shows up to make a story here, we'll connect those. But as of now, the thing that's coming through with this solar calm and clarity is that, like, I think this is more of a timing thing to me that you should just be aware of with your heart. And this process is that something is still happening in your solar plexus, and you just need to give that time. Like, it needs a little extra time to, like, it's either, and however you resonate is what's right for you. It's like either your solar center is still trying to build some heat and find some stability in its kind of strength and brightness, or it's like on rapid fire and it's a little chaotic and it's needing to sort of find that stable place. So whichever end of the spectrum you're coming from, there's like a centering, a stability that's still needing to kind of like click in on the stop in your solar plexus in this spiral of creation, which was, the stop that was right before this ending stop. I shouldn't say stop, the destination of your solar plexus was the one right before the heart. So that destination may just need a little bit extra time to kind of find its grounding, its centering, and find that calm clarity about how you're pushing forward, what's motivating you, your kind of willpower, your confidence. Something's needing to stabilize there for you. And I think it's just like, give it time, but let's get some kind of confirmation, see if there's anything else to add to that might help that process, or bring insight to that. So you've got the 3 doors, which, and I also want to pull out this card. It was flipped upright within the deck for some reason. Oh, and that's interesting because I did just do in one of my weekly readings that's all about, insight into questions. These 2 cards came out together. So that's funny, but somehow this got put back in like face up. And this card, this 3 doors, it reminds me a lot of Libra energy. So that's just confirming to me that, yeah, that's what we're talking about here is like, there's, I think where there's sort of a lack of clarity in your solar center and like what you're really driving towards, and pushing out in the world toward, is like there's still some decisions you're weighing and measuring. And I'm going to give the exact same advice I gave in that other reading that was all about like illumination into questions, because it feels like it may be helpful for you guys. In the like, if you're really teetering and really like unsure of some way you're supposed to push forward in life right now, and just kind of teetering back and forth, really deliberating about different ways you could go, or something that you're trying to balance, one way you may be able to get a better read on what's right for you and giving you that tipping point of which decisions to make is like list out those decisions and then assign colors to those. Like close your eyes and think about each decision and see what color comes up for you. And then as you see that spectrum of colors assigned to these different decisions, which ones feel good, which ones feel bad, and which ones feel ugly. Because that was what was coming through for me with the 3 doors, was like, it doesn't say it in the guidebook, but it just popped into my head, the good, the bad, and the ugly is like, you know, kind of common phrase. And there might just be something about feeling these decisions as colors and how you relate to those colors that might give you insight into which decisions are more of that, like very good for you anyway, right for you. So yeah, I think there's just something your solar plexus is hung up on. It's not clear yet about. And so, you know, some advice for your heart or for you, or maybe it's your heart giving you advice that's like, you know, don't push on me yet. You really need to get that, you know, and you may even watch your solar plexus reading again if you remember the pile. And just to see, you know, especially some of those things we talk about in this lower row and the ally that gets assigned to you, like what insight that might kind of invigorate in you. And then moving on to this mystery and dark matter. I mean, this could have something to do with that decisions needing to be made, but it feels a slight, like, it feels a shade, since we're talking in colors, I guess right now, it feels a shade different than that. Like it may have some association in terms of like, this actually might underlie why you're stuck in decisions. Is there's some sort of mystery, there's some fundamental thing you're trying to figure out, possibly about yourself, or it could be about the world right now, or the world you're kind of walking through right now, like your maybe something in your industry or your culture or your family. There's some like fundamental underlying thing that you're trying to understand that feels like a mystery. It feels like dark matter right now. It's it feels like dark matter, not saying it feels dark. It feels like a mystery that is intriguing you. And I think you're kind of down a rabbit hole with this. And I think once you kind of figure out what you need here, maybe those decisions will then be a little bit, the clarity you find in some rabbit hole you're going down, some mystery in your life, it feels alluring, it feels magnetic, it doesn't feel difficult, it feels intriguing. And I think there's something there that when you figure out that thread, okay, so these two are connected. When you figure out this thread that you're following, you'll know, okay, there is a story here. You're going to start to realize how to, like, what you're weaving in your life, what the through line is right now in your life, what is needing to be woven and orchestrated in your life. And that will start to, like, that rhythm will start to pick up. You'll start to find some traction and know kind of how to weave, what decisions to make. And then as you get going in that weaving and making decisions, that clarity is going to drop into your solar center. And then your heart will open to letting this spiral into it. So this is all related to back to getting your solar plexus sort of calm and focused and motivated. There's just like, yeah, some fundamental thing you're figuring out. Once you kind of get to where you at least can get to at this point, you'll start to feel some rhythm happening, some nuance and decisions you should make, and then that will lead to your clarity. Okay, let's get a few contexts for these top cards too. Lovers. Yeah, it's totally about, it could be this mystery, this alluring thing. It could be related to some very dualistic tensions you're holding within yourself. Some questions you may even have about how you identify in your life right now, or in the world right now, or in your family, or at work. There's something, I think, that you're struggling to figure out how you identify, what you identify as, how you identify, what you identify with. Whatever resonates for you, there's something you're trying to kind of really harmonize some inner tensions around that. And but I think it's coming. I think you're onto the right thread. You're in the right rabbit hole. And then weaving. Yeah, it's a little bit nebulous right now. Something's a little nebulous. And the timing of when I'm doing this reading, even though it's going to come out almost a week later than when I'm doing it, but that energy is still kind of integrated into the messages coming out here, is that the Aries solar eclipse is tonight. So I'm doing this reading on April 19th. And in case you come years later, 2023. So that makes sense to me that there's something with this eclipse, I think, that maybe is transitioning out of your life, and you're trying to figure out that new beginning or that new centering you're needing to go forward once something is kind of eclipsed from your life. And I don't feel it as a bad thing. I feel this as something you're ready and eager to kind of move forward from. But there's there's just like some very spiritual, very fundamental, very esoteric or scientific truths that you're trying to get to help you understand yourself, which will get you back into your center, which will bring you some clarity and comprehension and understanding, and a really orchestration, compositional understanding of how to go forward and what the past has been about. Yeah, so I do think this has something to do with the eclipse. If you're seeing this way later than this, it's still integrated. There's like eclipse energy here, and there's just something that you're kind of ending a chapter in, and you're just trying to figure out what it's all meant, and so hence where that then directs you going forward. So give yourself time. That's just a process. I don't see real blocks here. I just see some processing, some processing, some deep spiritual downloads coming through for you. Just give it time to kind of sink in, to figure out what you're stepping away from, what that means about how you identify in your life going forward. Yeah, it will all come together. It's a process, so just trust that. Okay, so let's move down to this bottom row, which is a little bit more general and universal about your particular heart chakra, which is exciting to kind of get some glimpses and insights from spirit about that, and really get more familiar with your heart chakra. So this first card is all about how you relate to your heart chakra, and insight into that can then help you develop a stronger relationship to your heart. Once you know how you relate to it, you can strengthen that relationship. 7th chakra. The energy of the crown chakra supports our feeling of being connected to a higher power and part of a larger whole. So this is saying that your heart chakra has a direct channel to your crown chakra, to spirit, to the divine. So you may get a lot of downloads straight to your heart about how to be loving, about how to be in your own presence or the presence of some, higher vibration, higher energy. And it definitely, indicates for me that your heart chakra kind of has a high vibrational quality to it. It's really beautiful. And so I think the more you are open to spirit and develop a relationship to spirit, to the divine, to something higher than yourself, the more you develop, feel your heart and feel a relationship to your heart. Your heart's very invested in that. So the more energy you put toward that, the stronger you make your heart, which is really, I don't know if you can, and that totally confirms what I was feeling about your card in general, is it's just a very surrendered, a very fluid, a very open, a very loving, it's a very fertile, beautiful heart to have. And I don't doubt that this way that you build and build relationship with and relate in general to your heart has a lot to do with that. Okay, and then context, we've got judgment. So this is, I actually love seeing that, because sometimes when we are really focused on connection to and relationship to spirit and those high vibe places, we can sometimes get really unanchored and a bit lost at the same time. And I love judgment coming through, that it's saying, but what happens for you, and I think it's because it's your heart center involved in this, is that these downloads and this relationship you build to spirit through your heart helps you to see more clearly, right paths, right it gives you a very good discernment in life. It's you feel very clearly what is off for you and what is on for you, what's off in the world, what's on in the world, that kind of thing. It gives you a real compass in feeling through your heart what feels divine as manifested in our world and in your life and within you and within others, and what's not vibing well. So it gives you a great power of discernment through your heart in your the more you develop relationship to spirit. So really gorgeous, really gorgeous. Okay, this next card, we're going to look at sort of patterns that you will see arise both within you and around you in your life when your heart chakra is open, active, and healthy. Oh, here we go. Decision and indecision. So I use my intuition in all aspects of my life. Yeah, this completely is in conversation with what we've already talked about. So when your relationship to your heart is really positive, really working and helping to just make you open and receptive and healthy in your heart, you are decisive. And when that is closed down a little bit, you will feel indecision. So I've definitely been finding this card showing us a spectrum to understand patterns that, the patterns that arise when you're a little closed down in the chakra, and then on the other spectrum, the patterns that arise when you're really open and healthy in the spectrum of this chakra. So it's the indecision to decision. When you're a little closed down in your heart, there's a lot of indecision. When you're very open, active, healthy, and as indicated by the way you relate to your heart in deep relationship with spirit, it makes you more decisive, because spirit is helping to bring you a lot of downloads and inspiration and messages and guidance that help bring decisiveness to your heart. Yeah, really cool. Okay, let's get a extra context here. The Empress. Yeah, I mean, I already said I felt your heart as very fertile. And when you're in that decisive place, when things are very active and healthy, the other pattern that you see is just feeling very fertile in the way you feel loving, in the way you feel present to life, in what you are emulating, and you know, like your aura, your whole aura kind of feels very lush and fertile and creative when when your heart chakra is open, active, and healthy. Really beautiful, you guys. Okay, so this last card on this row is going to show us sort of the process of your heart chakra when it is integrating something. So that can give you insight into when your heart chakra is working something out, because you will feel yourself also processing in this way. So protection. Okay, let's read from the book for this. I love this deck, and I've actually never pulled that card, so that's kind of cool. Okay, the best lightning rod for your protection is your own spine. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Whenever you're feeling vulnerable to negativity, it is important to seek protection. You can do so through meditation, praying to your angels, meditation, praying to your angels, guides, and ancestors. There's such a deep thing about being connected to spirit for your heart chakra, and it is very protected when you put effort into developing that relationship. The more you do that, the more protected your heart is. Protection also requires you to look internally and connect with your intuition. And again, talking about discernment, I think that you're in building a deep relationship to spirit and your heart through your heart. And then the downloads and wisdom and inspiration you receive that help you become more discerning, that also really deeply develops your intuitive understanding and intuitive intelligence, I guess you could say. So that's really cool. Begin trusting, observing, and listening to the voice inside. Call in whatever spiritual forces that align with your beliefs and remain diligent in your efforts toward peaceful resolve. Sometimes the difficulties you face can be great teachers, yet other times you may be facing an energetic blockage. It's important to recognize the difference so you understand when you have grace through conflict and when to pick up your metaphysical sword and armor. Mantra: I am protected by forces of love and light, and in this protection I am able to discern. We already talked about discernment. That's crazy. I am able to discern what is actually mine and what isn't my fight. Beautiful. So I think that I'm actually seeing this whole process for you, which is cool. It's like you develop this beautiful relationship through your heart to spirit, and you get a lot of downloads and guidance and protection and just illumination in things, which then helps you to refine your own intuitive ability. And so when you're moving from taking those downloads and checking in with your own inner compass of like how to respond to those, that's when your heart is in the process of like sort of integrating in what way your intuition is developing and growing, and in what way you need to lean into it to discern what is right for you right now, as well as finding that trust in your intuition to sometimes downloads we get, things spiritual that come our way, can be hard to trust on that intuitive level. And I think that that's something that your heart does a lot of work with, is sort of always reassembling its energetic construction and wiring to have more and more intuitive awareness of how to trust these divine things, and how to trust your own intuition of how to respond to what comes through those channels. Because a lot of times those things can be abstract or in metaphor, or, just like in languages we have to interpret. And I think that, your heart's really integrates a lot of intuitive wisdom in it to know how to interpret, what to trust, and just in general to trust its intuitive responses. So really cool. So a lot of building of intuition, that process in your heart. You'll feel that when it's integrating new things within it, new awareness within it. Okay, let's get some extra context with this. The mountain. The mountain's all about kind of setting off on journeys, aspiring for big things. And there's a couple things coming through with that. It's like you may set off on kind of grand type of heart journeys to help you integrate, to help you understand how to process and refine your heart's awareness. At the same time, I think some of these downloads that come to you through your heart's relationship to spirit call you on big journeys just in general, not even about the processing and integrating new things into it. I think because you have like a very expansive, very grandiose way of processing things in your heart and integrating new awareness in your heart, you're just sort of designed to go on big heart journeys. So you get downloads that kind of set you off on those, the way you process in your heart. It wants to be kind of in journey in life to help it process. I think lived experience is really important to your heart's process and growth of awareness. So it's a very adventurous, and that does, that's something that's now I'm feeling from this card. There's something else here that I'm not quite pinpointing right, and that this confirms what that is. It's a very adventurous heart. So it's not just open and fluid and, very fertile. It's also very adventurous. So very cool. Okay, to end, we are going to call in an ally from this Untamed Elemental deck. So an element, sorry, that was solar plexus readings. We are going to call in an ally from Ma'at, which is an Egyptian goddess, and specifically from her wisdoms and ideals around what types of things people need to live by to have a feather heart. So she's the goddess that will weigh hearts against feathers in terms of passing to the afterlife. And so we just want to find a message from Mott. So I'm asking her to be an ally for us, but specifically in her allyship with this heart chakra destination. One of her specific messages around this feather heart sort of philosophy. And so kind of, yeah, her as an ally in bringing you a message about something you can know, or she can guide you with in your heart realm to keep it, you know, feather light. I embrace the all. Beautiful. Okay. I actually think that might be the final card in the deck, but let me just get to... Here it is. Yeah, it is. I embrace the all. So these are a little bit long, just to warn you. Okay, cosmic consciousness is a term first coined in 1901 in the book Cosmic Consciousness, a study in the evolution of the human mind by Richard Maurice Buke, I think. Its central tenet is that cosmic consciousness is a consciousness of the life and order of the universe which is possessed by few men at present. It is a further stage of human evolution which will be reached by all humanity in the future. While at the present moment, the various gradients of the collective consciousness tend to anthropomorphize the idea that idea of the all that is as a being. By embracing the ideal of the all, we can find relationship to our true being. The all of our individual reality is our poetry in motion. This feels like poetry in motion, your card. The allegory and the metaphor of our story within the history of the universe becoming conscious of itself through its individual components becoming conscious. Becoming cosmically aware, we illuminate our darkness with the sparks of light that experience provide us as we emerge from the caverns of ignorance into a space of crystalline clarity. To know the all, we must see the all as a type of awareness, a nebula amid nebulousness, the key which opens all doors of perception and potential. Embracing this ideal, we find a relationship with the power of doing as well as being. We allow the stellar force of life to give us gravity in the moments that ground us, but also elevate us through levity, reflection, and creativity in the moments that knock us off our feet. The inevitable patterns that govern intelligent design reveal their geometry in nature, the cosmos, and the varying degrees of consciousness you ascend toward as you learn and find your vision by experiencing the all. Yeah, I think you're open to experiencing a lot. You're very adventurous in your heart. Man is a star bound to a body until in the end he is freed through his strife. Only by struggle and toiling by utmost shall the star within thee bloom out in new life. He who knows the commencement of all things, free is his star from the realm of night, the emerald tablets of Thoth. Once you begin to see this pattern, the idea of embracing this ideal becomes manifest in awareness of the concept that creation created you to be creative. All is within, but also without. If you look to beyond the surface, you can appreciate this pattern with your every breath. You are the cosmos made conscious, and this moment is but one chapter in a story that never ends. Yeah, I think you have a very adventurous heart. I think your heart loves to be engaged in story and journey. There was something I wanted to go back to. Hold on. Yeah, I don't remember exactly what it was that I wanted to go back to, but it just feels big. It feels this, we've already talked about how divinely connected your heart is, and this just is illuminating more of where Ma'at wants to bring guidance to you, allyship to you, is in helping you further and further understand that you are consciousness made conscious, you are part of the all, and the story and the metaphor behind that can help illuminate those types of, sometimes hard to grasp concepts and understandings and awarenesses. So yeah, I think as your heart chakra opens and allows this spiral within it, I think you're going to be finding a lot of guidance and wisdom, kind of settling into your heart, new awareness settling into your heart about your own consciousness, how that's tied to consciousness in general. I don't know, just very esoteric, very divine, very high esoteric wisdom coming through there, and somewhat scientific at the same time. Okay, last we're just going to get kind of a message from Spirit through the Priestesses of Light. Just a little thing to leave you with for this particular spiral of creation. Death and rebirth, darkness to light. Yeah, I think this is confirming what I was feeling in this top row, that you are kind of ending some sort of big cycle and trying to find that light, that centering for a new cycle to come. And this is just confirming that, yeah, you are going through sort of a transformation right now. Give it time. It's a process. You will move from darkness to light in this, and you will find your solar centering. And yeah, you'll find your way through this. You're being protected. Spirit is clearly has, its eye on you with this. And yeah, that heart opening to this spiral will happen. Just give it a minute. Okay, wow, this is where I'm going to leave you guys. Really, really gorgeous heart. I loved this reading. I love your hearts. Wow. And yeah, so if this resonated, I always appreciate a thumbs up. Little comments that are thoughtful and kind are always welcome, and make me feel very grateful for having you guys here. And also just, thank you for sticking out and finishing this whole series. It was quite a journey, but I've loved every minute. I hope you guys have gotten some valuable insight. And yeah, I will see you in future readings. All right, see you guys. Hello, Pile 4. Welcome to your Heart Chakra reading. It's your last stop or destination in this whole tarot series, the Spiral of Creation, where we end up in our heart, integrating a spiral of creation into our heart, where we then just sort of become the presence and emulate what our original download or inspiration was, and find a way, like a more loving awareness through that. And I just wanted to point that out with your card. Specifically has the keyword love on it. So there's something about that and your heart that feels important, just like I'm just getting the words, a very loving vibration in your heart, which is, the heart is about love, but it has some other things. I think it really holds our true awareness, and it is sort of where we hold the, integrate certain things to kind of create our presence, but something specific about how you vibrate love through your heart is coming through very strongly here for you guys. So that's beautiful to see, just a general, very general message. But yeah, okay, so let's jump into this. We're going to look at this top row with some oracle cards already turned over to see, oftentimes this upper row will show us where there's like blocks or timing that we're needing to wait on. But sometimes it's just sort of insight that you're needing to be given, and that's what it feels like to you. I do not feel any blocks. I don't feel like maybe a little bit of some timing coming through here, but definitely not like blocks to talk about. Yeah, so it feels like a bit of a story with these. I'm going to kind of talk about them all together in a way. We've got Jupiter abundance, we've got rain with fecundity, and we've got the observer card. And so to me, what's going on here that your heart either wants you to know or is needing sort of some guidance from spirit on in order to be ready to open and receive this spiral of creation in it is like, I think it's ready. I think it is already somewhat open and vibing and already maybe feeling this spiral coming into it, but it just needs to be like more awareness needs to be shed on a process that is underway. It's that I feel like those who have come to this pile have really done a good job for the most part of sort of keeping track of this whole spiral and like really committing to working with this tarot series. And I think because of that, you are really incubating now something real and actual. And so I think spirit is just wanting to come through and confirm that like you've done good work. Whatever you feel like is incubating, but it's hard to get actual tangible signs of. It's like saying, trust that. It is, you can sense it, you can feel it incubating in you just as a baby would, even though it's likely for the majority, I would imagine, something, some other kind of creation, but there is something that is very fertile and that is going to be very, very abundant. I mean, just look at this whole field coming into fertility here, and there's just, with Jupiter there, it's just like so much is about to come to life in your world, so much abundance is about to be generated and witnessed and felt and cultivated around you. But I think what spirit is wanting to tap into is I feel like you're like watching and waiting and finding maybe this hard to trust. Like you sense it, you believe it, but you have these moments of like, I'm observing, but I'm not seeing it yet. I want to believe this. I want to trust what I'm sensing within. I sense this within me, this fecundity, this fertile, lush rain, this abundance, but like, I'm watching this crystal ball and like nothing's appearing. It might feel like that, like, but where is it? I can't see anything, any evidence. And Spirit's saying, like, don't get frustrated. This is a process, and if we try to like dig into the chrysalis of a butterfly when it's transforming from caterpillar to butterfly too soon, it ruins it and it just looks like a bunch of mush. Like, you just have to be patient, but trust the process. You can feel it. That's what it's saying, is like, you may not be seeing an image in this crystal ball, but you can feel the threads. You can feel things within you. You can sense it. So trust that. Just be patient. Something, what you're sensing is very fertile and abundant, and rich and vibrant coming through is coming. So just, yeah, patience. Okay, let's get some confirmation cards on all of this. But yeah, how exciting for you guys. That's a really beautiful message rather than getting like blocks you need to phase or blah, blah, blah. It's like, just trust this beautiful stuff you're sensing is real. Yeah, death, interesting. Justice. And Taurus, yes. Love all of this. Okay, let me move these over a little. Okay, so I love death coming up, and he's got this, I don't know that this is a crystal ball, but I feel like he's holding a crystal ball to match the crystal ball you have. And then the butterfly, so we talked about both of these things. And so I think whatever is growing, incubating in you, in your life, this is a confirmation that it will, come out as that butterfly, but it's feeding off of death right now. And so you have to kind of live in that darkness and not have to have so much tangible evidence. You have to trust the mystery of the process, and that things you've recently let go of, chapters that have recently ended, are all food. Death is the food that detonates new life. And so trust the things that you've let go of. They may feel at this moment in your visible life like it's created a void and like nothing's happening, even though you can sense something, is there below the surface. Your moment, that shining evidence, that rebirth moment will come, and it will really give you a new sense of balance and fortitude. And to me, I'm just saying, like, you really deserve this. That's what's coming through. You really deserve it. You do, whatever's coming. And when it comes, it's not going to be a disappointment. It's not going to be like, wow, I thought I was incubating like a new job or a move or something, but really all I got was like, I don't know, I won a $100 lottery, and that was like anticlimactic or something. And this is saying whatever births, whatever you're anticipating and waiting on and sensing is there, is not going to be anticlimactic. It is going to be as good as you are hoping or better, and you're really going to feel justified in this. And then Taurus coming through to say it's very, just confirming again just how fertile it is of what's coming, and how much it's going to show to you like updates in your own self-worth that you've centered in and understood and anchored into you. And it's really going to confirm those things for you. So really cool. So yeah, a little bit of waiting. There's something about this that it's like it's you're needing to move maybe from this incubation period to that rebirth moment that your heart's waiting on. I tend to say, like, give each of these chakra destinations sort of a week to kind of go through its process. And to me, that indicates that whatever is coming is like in the 9th month. You're like almost at 40 weeks, which is the 9 months. So whatever time period the thing that you're incubating takes, you're in like the last week to 2 weeks here. So just some patience. And then it's like as soon as you do see some physical evidence of this and like really fall into that gratitude for this justified feeling of what you've grown, your heart I think it's open a little bit already. I think it's already vibing a little bit with this spiral of creation, but it's really going to burst open as soon as this, whatever is incubating, kind of comes into its rebirth, into visible manifestation. So a little bit of timing here, but also just some pep talk for you as well. Okay, let's move down to this bottom row to get some more general, universal information about how, about your heart chakra, how it works, how you connect to it, all that good stuff. So this first card, we're going to look at how you relate to your heart chakra, hence how with that information you can develop a stronger relationship to your heart chakra. Beautiful expression. The frequency of expression supports our ability to bring out our true essence through many different forms of communication. So your heart, and that gives some context to what I was feeling about your card in general, about like it vibrates with love, but I was like, it's very vibey. And I think that your heart chakra is, it loves to be engaged in life. It wants to express. So the more you work on forms of expression and express through your heart, the more you feel the presence of your heart, the more you understand your relationship to your heart. So there's something really beautiful here, very expressive. So maybe, it could even give a clue about what's incubating that your heart is caring so much about is, some form of expression you're working on. If that doesn't resonate, that doesn't have to be that. But for a lot of you, it could have to do with, some kind of incubation in how you're currently sort of expressing in the world, or holding the presence of a certain type of expression. I don't know. Okay, let's get a context around this. Sagittarius. You guys could be writers. You could be very engaged in storytelling or philosophies. You may enjoy creating sort of platforms for people to speak and share, or you may share through platforms like that. There's something they're expressing through vision, through story, through narrative. That could be important to a lot of you guys. Some of you may be more philosophical, but and a curiosity about culture too. You may also really love to understand how, as cultures evolve, how expression in culture evolves. That could be something. These are just all ways that you kind of relate to your heart. It's a very big, grand heart for sure. It loves to express, it loves to think, it loves to debate even. I definitely am feeling something about being engaged in story too. For many of you. Okay, this next card we're going to look at is going to illuminate a little bit about certain patterns that will appear when your heart is open, active, and healthy in your life. So discipline, beautiful. I'm like 98% positive this card came through with another chakra reading. So if you've already seen this, that might be sort of an archetypal quality within you, like very Saturn-esque, a disciplinarian, a very focused, masterful person. But either way, whether you have or haven't already seen this in a reading, your heart is very focused. And that makes sense also with Sagittarius. It likes to have an aim, a focus, and likes to shoot for the stars. And so this is indicating that when you are, when your heart is very engaged and it's healthy and open, it's like you can see what your goals are, you can see strategy, you can see what steps you need to take to get where you're wanting to be in a year, in a week, in 10 years. Like you're very good at setting goals, working towards goals, being very disciplined and focused. And so the opposite of this are sort of patterns that may show up when your heart is a little more closed down, as you may be a little bit more aimless, unable to find focus, wandering, drifting, sort of in the Sagittarius mode that sometimes can also be too hungry for its own good. So there may just be also some like unrealistic thinking. But when your heart is active, open, and healthy, it's like you can make realistic goals, focus, work really hard, and really cultivate mastery through your heart's guidance. So it's a very like upstanding heart. I feel like you have, like, not only is it very vibey with love and feels like a very affectionate heart, an expressive heart, but it's, when it's very healthy, it's also very realistic and pragmatic and goal oriented and mastered. So really cool. All right, let's get some context around this. The sun, gorgeous. Yeah, it's just a brightness will be around you as well when your heart is active, open, and healthy. Just feeling like life is thriving. This definitely sheds some light as well on the energy I was feeling up here. I think you're pretty good at creating abundance in your life. And so this is just, I think you've probably been through this process many times of really birthing very abundant, fertile, grand things. And because when your heart is healthy and when you're working with a healthy heart chakra, it's just like you spread warmth and you have strong alignment and vision and focus, and it really allows you to sit in a certain grandness in your heart and in a loving kind of presence too. Beautiful, really gorgeous. I've been loving these heart chakra readings. They're kind of blowing me away how beautiful people are. Okay, this last card we're going to look at is giving some insight into your heart chakra's process when it's integrating new awareness into it. So what does that feel like then, and when it's in this, because of the process it has, things that you may notice in life. Know thyself. Okay, so I'm going to read from the book for this. Okay, you are not a drop in the ocean. They are the entire ocean in a drop. Rumi. They say to know thyself is to know God, not the self as in your human identity, but the self that is unseen, the invisible self that you walk with, that observes your experiences. Be mindful of that presence. Take the time to get to know your true being and trust that the answers are within you. This true you is not influenced by the constructs of human conditioning and is always ready to be present. Knowing this true you better will bring you closer to infinite consciousness by reminding you that you are part of a much bigger energy that is having a conversation with itself. Mantra: I am a precious drop of life's infinite ocean, and this indivisible infinity sets the abundance of my life in motion. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of perspective, I'm feeling like, in your heart, and a lot of ability to, like, every time your heart's sort of expanding with new awareness and integrating sort of new awareness in it, it's like you gain another lens. And I'm definitely leaning into the Sagittarian energy and Jupiter up here, which rules Sag, of like being able to zoom further and further out and get wider and wider and more broadened lenses about not just yourself, but life in general. But this is showing, you know, when your heart is integrating new awareness, you specifically are able to kind of have new perspective, which gives you a new perception of yourself as more and more a part of something bigger. And yeah, just like a really cool kind of dimensional understanding of yourself and being able to step outside of yourself and observe, the observer, and like being able to observe the self, some other higher part that you're connected to, tapping into what's the part of you that's observing you. You may have those types of experiences when your heart is integrating new awarenesses. Really cool. Wow. Okay, let's get some context for this. The cauldron, and this is all about the things that, you know, each thing we're efforting in our life is like a cauldron, and our behaviors, our actions, our thoughts, our emotions, everything we put in a cauldron around each of the things in our lives creates alchemy. It creates a concoction. And so this is saying that, like, when your heart is integrating new awareness in it, its process is going to change the whole alchemy of how you know yourself. So the way you think about yourself, the kind of emotions you feel that tend to move through you, what you think about, how you feel about things, what you're aware of, like all the things, your behaviors, all these things kind of shift at the same time. And so all of the things that you're putting in that cauldron of knowing yourself go through a pretty big process of change, a very big alchemical shift, if you will. So your heart is very alchemical. It's very dimensional. It really knows how to observe, not just how you know yourself, but observe big picture things in the world, in the universe, in the beyond, in whatever. So really beautiful, beautiful reading, you guys. Okay, to end this, we are going to call in the goddess Ma'at as an ally for you. And she is the Egyptian goddess. One of the things of like fairness, of law, universal law, not human law, cosmic law. And one of the things she does is she is responsible for weighing our hearts against a feather when we pass to the afterlife, to see if our hearts are as light as feathers, indicating, you know, how well we've lived, I guess you could say. And so bringing Ma'at in as an ally, specifically asking her for a message about this. She has 42 ideals around this. And so does she really want to be an ally for you in helping you to understand something about keeping your heart feather light? I am kind. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay. Let's read from the book. To find it real quick. Okay, it's a little long, so just buckle in. I am kind. The name Homo sapiens literally translates from the Latin as wise man. Yet while we are blessed with the wisdom of conscious awareness, navigating our human awareness is a very complex experience. Human beings are earthbound, yet we dream of the stars with an inexplicable type of homesickness for the celestial. We have the ability to study and understand the intricacies of quantum physics and build spaceships to transport us out of our atmosphere and into the unknown. At the same time, we also have the ability to transcend time and space and explore the unknown galaxies within our consciousness through meditation, breath work, entheogenic medicines. We are capable of such beauty, such feats of imagination and creation, yet at the same time, humanity also expresses a potential for actions that can be so cruel, cold, and cunning. Humankind and human kindness are not mutually exclusive, but being a part of humankind does not mean that all of humanity possesses kindness and compassion. We each have a capacity for it, but our ability to express this truly special part of our spirit can at times feel like a great challenge. We have a unique opportunity to experience both empathy and sympathy. We can share the feelings of another and so also express concern and or pity for their sorrow and loss. The scales of empathy and sympathy may at times be weighed down with a heavy heart or lack of compassion, and thus when human frailty comes to the forefront, we must be reminded of what it means to embody the ideal of kindness. Charles Darwin believed that humanity evolved due to the advent of language and fire. Words terraformed what was once a foreign terrain, and fire allowed for light, nourishment, and protection. Alchemically speaking, there's something very alchemical about your heart. This evolutionary formula is still ever present, but in the hidden layers of what the alchemists call the secret fire, which is believed to be thought in the highest sense. Thought forms into formed thoughts, the divine spark of the imagination. Our words map the territories we forge with our intentions. Our inner fire is what nourishes our soul and protects our inner light. Words ignite the inner fire of human kindness, and kindness is kindled through compassionate acts, intentional language, and conscious thought patterns. Love burns away fear, and human beings free of fear allow for kindness's wisdom to be experienced by all through catalyzing evolution with conscious awareness. Your heart, we've already seen, is very expressive. It's very engaged with thought, with story, with intention, so focus and discipline, which intention is needed for. And so I feel like what Ma is bringing, and I do feel you guys are incredibly loving and have like a really beautiful heart in that way, a very expressive, affectionate, loving heart. And this is just bringing, I think Ma'at is just bringing a reminder that those things that you find big picture vision for, the stories you engage with, the focuses that you try to master, keep those in line with the way you kind of express affectionately with those around you. It's sort of like a reminder to keep those bigger picture things too focused on things that spread kindness. So that's really beautiful. And she wouldn't be bringing that reminder and that allyship and message if she didn't think that was something that was already special about you, but wanting you to really amplify that and acknowledge it and deepen into that. Okay, we're going to bring just one more simple message through from Spirit through the Priestesses of Light. to come through. Angelic assistance, divine guidance, loving support. Yeah, it's a very simple and very beautiful message that you are being watched, you are being guided, and you are being supported right now. So be aware to these subtle things, to subtle nudges towards things, to subtle feelings of feeling protected and watched. But especially I'm honing in on divine guidance. I think little messages, little helping hands are trying to kind of like push you in certain directions right now. So just like pay attention to those subtle signs and messages, and, you know, follow these subtle guidances that you pick up on. I think that's just something, yeah, extra coming through for you guys. Gorgeous. Wow. Beautiful, beautiful heart, you guys. All of the hearts have been gorgeous and unique, and yours is no different. So beautiful. So congratulations on finishing this series. I hope that it has brought some helpful illumination. I hope that this particular spiral of creation is bringing some beautiful creative births into your life, and definitely, hopefully, this has illuminated how to do this spiral of creation as much as you want, and in whatever fashion you want. You could do it once a week, go through each chakra one day at a time. You could do it week by week, month by month. You could take a whole year to do it, whatever feels appropriate to you guys. Yeah, I hope this empowers you to work with that spiral chakra energy even more so. And yeah, so this is where I'm going to leave you guys. And if this resonated, I always appreciate thumbs up. It very much so helps me to know if you're liking what I'm doing, as well as helps my algorithm. And I always appreciate and I'm grateful for kind and thoughtful little comments as well. All right, I will see you guys in readings in the future.